Hi everyone, it's Patty Talbot. I'm here once again to talk with you about what it takes to cultivate homegrown changemakers. You'll remember that recently we were talking about the difference between a big C changemaker and a little c changemaker. Little c changemakers being virtually everyone. We make change just by being in the world, but we're talking about big C changemakers that show up in their power and work with others in their power to make a difference, particularly with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So I want to introduce you today to what I call my 4x4 formula for cultivating homegrown changemakers. So you'll remember our 4-quadrant model brings in our homegrown solutions for the patchwork world. We think about our homegrown selves, the big solutions we work on for our big purpose in the world. The patchwork is all about working with the beautiful diversity of the world. And the world are the solutions we're trying to create and ripple out. So today I want to introduce you to our attributes that fall within our being quadrant, our doing quadrant, our connecting across the patchwork quadrant, and our reflecting into the world quadrant. And they are these. Changemakers must have solid self-awareness. Changemakers must have self-confidence to share their ideas with others. Changemakers must be solid in their values and have an internal locus of control that allows them to feel that they can have an effect on the world. Likewise, in the doing quadrant, changemakers are action takers. They have an orientation toward action. They are problem solvers. They do their problem solving and taking action with creativity and innovation. And they persevere. They stick with it, even when things get tough. And in the patchwork or the connecting quadrant, here we must have social emotional intelligence in order to regulate our own emotions and be able to work well with others. And of course, inside that social emotional intelligence is empathy. And we pull that one out specifically because it's so important that it warrants attention of its own. Changemakers must be good communicators, and that means with both input and output. We communicate well, but we also listen well. And changemakers exhibit cultural competence because it's so important when working across the patchwork to recognize that that includes working across diverse cultures, and we must be competent in learning how to do so and recognizing that our perspectives are not the only perspectives in the world. Changemakers are critical thinkers, and that means that they go to multiple sources of information before making decisions, and they consider all information with care. Changemakers exhibit leadership, a global mindset, thinking about how the world affects what we do locally and how what we do locally ripples out and makes a difference in the rest of the world. And last but certainly not least, in the reflecting quadrant, we focus on reflection. And that means not only how we reflect on the inside to make good decisions, but also how we show up as examples in the world and reflect out into the world what we're hoping others will want to join in and emulate. So that's the 4x4 model for cultivating homegrown changemakers. If you want to know more, I hope you'll download our ebook called Changemaker You, so you can think about how you can cultivate these characteristics in yourself and others within your organization and your circles of influence. And I hope you will stay in touch and follow our work and work on the big C changemaker in yourself. I'm Patty Talbot. I'm always learning, and I bet you are too.